Anybody else have questions? Hey.
I talked to Kent about this, but I want to start another tidal wave tonight. I want to know if both of the state house candidates will consider starting a drive out when you're talking to people of limiting the session to 30 days, no more. And if you must go past that, then you pay for it out of your own pocket, not out of the taxpayers' pockets. And New Hampshire has the 30-day limit, and they almost never go past because they don't want to take it out of their own pocket. I think we can start that here.
My wife will be lobbying for that.
I also think it's the way that you're going to get citizen legislators, because as we sit here and look at the candidate that is representing us, we look at each other and say, how can we do this? And nobody that we know can take 3 months out of their lives to travel to Des Moines and put their kids in the back seat and all of that. So I'd like to start a tidal wave, and Chad, would you speak on that too?
I'm not extremely excited about the job in the first place. So yeah, 30 days is a fantastic idea. Let's get that
going. I would wholeheartedly support that legislation, and I actually put in a bill. I think I told you this, but I'll share with the rest of the audience. I put in a bill that was going to go to biannual session. So we would meet every other year. The Senate would meet one year, the House would meet the next, and it would take twice as long to screw anything up. But I would look at any way of reducing the amount of time we spend there. It's absolutely insanity. When President Obama was sworn in, everything went on hold. And there was this huge ceremony for hanging up the picture in the chamber of the House. Well, I did the math on what the clerks got paid, what the pages got paid, what the support staff got paid, and it was about $50,000 for the House chamber that day. And we did it. And it doesn't drop off of a magic money tree that's behind the Capitol. It's coming out of your pocketbooks. So there's a ton of waste there. And, it needs to be addressed. And I would definitely look at that.
How about going at the federal level? Because every day they're off at the top.
I was talking about the roadmap earlier, the roadmap to my career, the roadmap the framers gave us. It will work if we'll go back to it. There's 17, it might be 18, but if I remember correctly, 17 enumerated powers in the Constitution. The federal government the Congress has routinely abused the Constitution using the Commerce Clause to inject themselves into our everyday lives, whether it's, as Bill said, what kind of light bulbs we can have or how much water flushes in our toilet. Those are decisions for these guys. They're not decisions from Washington. And if I'm an anti-anything candidate, I'm an anti-power candidate. The power is sitting in the chairs in this room. We are your representatives. These are not our seats, hopefully, in my case. Somebody already has one. And these are your seats. And we're simply the custodians of them. It is a responsibility far greater than ourselves. And if you don't recognize that, if you don't recognize that this is not a career choice, this is service, you don't belong in Washington. You don't belong in the State House of Iowa.
Mr. Funk, I was wondering, how do you feel about illegal immigration, transit, and all that?
I can answer that one.
First half of the answer is, what part of illegal don't you understand? It doesn't get any simpler than that. Yeah. The second half of the question is, a few weeks ago in Pleasant Hill, for real, I arrested a drug dealer. And to call an undocumented worker, the illegal alien an undocumented worker, would be like calling that drug dealer an unlicensed pharmacist. There is a solution: secure the border and enforce the laws. In 1983, President Reagan signed into law. There was some limited amnesty, but there was really some tough sanctions on employers. And illegal immigration dropped to a fraction of what it was prior to '83. And as long as those laws were enforced, up until like 1993, think of an event that occurred, where there were tough sanctions on employers, illegal immigration would grow to a fraction of what it was. It's less than 200,000 people a year attempting to cross the border in the United States. And today it's that many every month, just in Arizona. That law is on the books. All we have to do is start to enforce it again. Good fences make good neighbors. I'm sorry, you might have a great river view at the Rio Grande, but the national security trumps environmental concerns. We need to build that wall from LA all the way, or excuse me, from San Diego all the way to Galveston, Texas, on the, the very southeast corner of the country. I'm sorry you lose your riverfront property, dude. Take your money and go somewhere else. That's right. And if we remove the incentive for them to be here by eliminating our corporate income taxes, allowing our businesses to be profitable again and not have to find the lowest common denominator because they're being taxed and regulated out of existence, Americans will do those jobs. And Americans want jobs right now. That should be obvious about our unemployment rate. And if we enforce tough sanctions on people that employ illegal aliens, the market will dry up. They will leave. Those that don't leave willingly will provide them transportation.
I wanted to answer that question on a state level. I think everybody in here has probably heard about the amendment that the Republicans offered that was going to strip the funding for the illegal immigrants receiving aid. Or what we were going to do is we were going to require everybody to have a valid Social Security number. That was my bill. We took it out and added it to an amendment, and the leadership wanted to run it instead of me running it because it caught some attention. And so we forced a vote on it, but that would have saved $90 million. We spend $90 million a year, almost $100 million a year on illegal immigrants with food stamps, housing subsidies, health care, education. Well, that was just in Health and Human Services. So that's not county education, which is very detrimental to our state. And we forced a vote on that, straight party line vote, and it was defeated. I also put in a bill that was early on in session this year that was kind of a cross between the Arizona bill and the Oklahoma bill. And everybody says, I can't believe you're putting in an immigration bill. That's so 5 years ago. And that was at the beginning of session, and then by the end of session, the Arizona law passed, and it became national news. And the reason why I put that in is because I spent 2 years in Oklahoma, and I watched the effect that the illegal immigrants had on that state. See, I own a commercial cleaning company, and big companies in the state of Iowa are, like Marsden is a good example. They hire, when I worked there, they hired a large amount of illegal immigrants. Well, when you're a small business owner, I can't compete with the pay they're paying. I owned a cleaning business for 20 years almost, or 18 years. And, I was charging the same rates this past year that I was charging 18 years ago, and it's not because my costs have stayed the same, it's because I've had to compete with the illegal immigrants in the state of Iowa now. So it was a good time to sell the business in October anyway. And, but I put that bill forward, and it didn't get any traction, but I believe we can do that. And, Oklahoma did it. 50,000 people fled Oklahoma, and the unemployment rate was cut in half. In Arizona, they did it. I think they've estimated now is that 100,000 has fled Arizona. And where are these people going? Do we think they're going back to Mexico? No, they're coming to states like Iowa. So it's because because we have people like our city council in Des Moines that want to make Des Moines a safe haven. That's insane. So,
on the sanctuary city thing, no federal money for a sanctuary city.
Here, here.